It started with a message Iron Man decoded from deep space. One word: Kal-El. Stark's simulations showed a threat unlike anything Earth had faced, not hostile, but unstable. He warned the Avengers. Superman wasn't just from another world. He was being controlled by it. Thor scoffed. Captain America wanted diplomacy. Black Widow said, "He saved us last week." But Iron Man saw what they didn't: the cracks in Superman's restraint, growing wider each day. Then came the incident in Cairo. One blink, one flash of heat vision, and 1,400 gone. By the time the Avengers assembled to act, it was already too late. Now they're fighting the man who once saved the world. And Iron Man's the only one who saw it coming. Iron Man had seen enough war to know when something wasn't right. And this time, it wasn't just a gut feeling. It was cold data, surges in atmospheric pressure, micro-fluctuations in Earth's magnetic field, and radiation signatures that matched nothing in S.H.I.E.L.D.'s database. Except one: Superman. At first, it was small things. Surveillance drones picked up Superman hovering over cities longer than usual, silent, unmoving. He wasn't patrolling. He was observing, watching, waiting. Tony Stark ran the numbers. Patterns emerged. Superman was monitoring power grids, military bases, nuclear silos. Not as a hero, as if he were planning something. Tony brought the data to the Avengers war room. "He's not who we think he is," he said, pulling up a hologram of Earth with dozens of red dots. "Look at the convergence zones. He's mapping our vulnerabilities." Thor leaned back, arms crossed. "He's done nothing but protect this realm. Perhaps you see threats where there are none, Stark." Tony didn't argue. He just zoomed in. This was yesterday. Cairo. Superman appeared here for 32 seconds. Then vanished. An hour later, the entire underground Wakandan tech node gone. No survivors. Vibranium readings off the charts. But not a trace of what caused the explosion. Black Widow narrowed her eyes. "You think he did it?" "I think someone is messing with his mind," Tony replied. "And if we don't act now, we're going to regret it." Steve Rogers spoke quietly. "We don't preemptively strike allies, Tony. Not unless we're sure." "We won't get that chance," Tony said, voice sharp. "Because when he finally snaps, if he snaps, it won't be a warning. It'll be extinction." They didn't vote, but they also didn't act. The next day, Superman stopped a volcanic eruption in the Pacific, rescued a satellite, and prevented a gang war in Gotham, all before lunch. Headlines praised him. Earth's Guardian. God in red. Better than the Avengers. Public opinion soared. Meanwhile, Tony worked alone. He stayed up for days, poring over Kryptonian physiology, designing contingency plans. Not to kill, just to contain. If there was even a chance Superman could be turned against Earth, they had to be ready. Jarvis calculated the odds. 4.2% chance of hostile takeover. Small, but catastrophic if true. Then the dreams started. Wanda Maximoff, shaken, came to Stark Tower. "I see fire," she whispered. "A red sky. He's floating above the ruins. He's crying. But he doesn't stop. He burns everything." Tony didn't hesitate. He activated Protocol Phantom, a full lockdown of every Stark tech interface connected to global defense systems. He started manufacturing kryptonite-based shields, carefully hidden across the globe. Then it happened. In Moscow, a rogue AI escaped a Hydra lab. It launched EMPs across the city. Within seconds, Superman appeared. But something was wrong. His eyes glowed with blue flame, not red. His voice was distorted. He spoke a single phrase: initiate cleansing. The AI was destroyed, but so was half the city. No witnesses, no explanation, just ashes. Tony confronted the team again. That's twice now. Twice he's lost control, and we're still pretending this is fine. Steve slammed his fist on the table. "We don't jump to conclusions." He melted a skyscraper in broad daylight. "Cap, you call that a misunderstanding?" Thor finally stood. "If he has fallen under influence, then let us confront him with honor, not with cowardice." But the window of diplomacy was already closed. Tony received a transmission, hidden buried in deep code frequencies. Kryptonian. It was a countdown. When he decrypted it, his blood ran cold. It wasn't a threat. It was a return signal. A message from deep space. Primary asset online. Planetary restructuring approved. Superman wasn't acting alone. Someone, somewhere, had just activated him. He wasn't Earth's protector anymore. He was the beginning of something else. Tony called an emergency summit. No more debates. No more hesitation. The Avengers had to choose, prepare for a confrontation, or wait to be judged. Some sided with Tony, Wanda, War Machine, even Banner. Others didn't. Steve insisted on trying to reach Clark directly. Thor believed the truth could be found in the stars. But the team was fractured, divided, and the countdown was almost over. 3 hours later, the sky turned black over New York. Not nightfall. A ship, massive, silent, hanging in orbit. And at its center, Superman, hovering, watching. He didn't speak. He just raised a hand. And Iron Man's satellites dropped from the sky like meteors. That's when they knew. He had made his choice. The satellites rained down like thunderbolts from the gods. Stark's private network obliterated in minutes. Cities went dark. Communications fried. It was precise, tactical, and unmistakably intentional. Superman wasn't sending a warning. He was erasing humanity's defenses before they could respond. Tony was already in the suit, flying straight toward him, pushing Mach speeds as he broke through the upper atmosphere. He didn't call for backup. He knew none of them were ready. But maybe, just maybe, he could buy them time. Superman was waiting, arms crossed, above the earth like a silent sentinel turned executioner. And for a second, Tony hesitated. Because the look in Clark's eyes wasn't rage. It wasn't even contempt. It was sadness. Like he knew what had to be done, and hated that it was him who had to do it. Tony didn't wait. The first blast hit Clark square in the chest, repulsor beam amplified by synthetic kryptonite resonance. It worked. Superman staggered for exactly 0.6 seconds. Then he moved. One punch shattered Iron Man's left thruster. A second punch crushed the chest plate. Tony spiraled through the stratosphere, systems failing, bones cracking. But he didn't stop transmitting. Now, he gasped into the comms. Do it now. That's when the sky cracked open again. A rainbow arc bifrosed. Thor arrived with Mjolnir in one hand and Stormbreaker in the other. Lightning surged through the clouds as he launched himself at Superman with godlike fury. Superman didn't flinch. They collided in a shock wave that lit up the sky like a second sun. Thunder rolled across continents. In Wakanda, windows shattered. In Tokyo, the tide shifted unnaturally. Birds fell from the sky. Thor's hammer slammed into Superman's side. It left a mark. But Superman grabbed the hammer mid-swing, stared Thor down, and crushed it. Mjolnir cracked, splintered, and fell from the sky. Thor's eyes went wide. But then Captain Marvel arrived like a comet, bursting through the ship's hull in orbit and flying straight toward Clark with cosmic speed. She tackled him mid-air and drove him through the Earth's atmosphere like a missile. They smashed into the Pacific with a roar of steam and displaced ocean that generated tsunamis across 3 coastlines. But Superman rose first, soaked, bruised, glowing, not angry, awake. The signal had fully activated, and the moment he opened his mouth, they all felt it. Not just heard it, felt it. A sound wave that paralyzed tech, froze blood, cracked stone. Kryptonian command code, embedded in his DNA since birth. World Order Protocol begins. Beneath Wakanda, vibranium vaults unlocked automatically. Hidden tech, ancient and alien, began powering up. Devices even Shuri hadn't discovered started moving on their own. At the same time, SWORD's orbital sensors detected new ships, thousands, approaching from the far side of Jupiter. Unmarked, silent, but broadcasting one clear signal. Kal-El verified. Initiate terraforming sequence. This wasn't about Superman losing control. This was about Earth being converted into a new Krypton. Tony, barely conscious, triggered his last failsafe. Code Phantom Prime. In every major Avengers outpost, hidden anti-Superman tech went online. EMP mines, sound frequency disruptors, nanotech destabilizers. Jarvis' final voice echoed in Stark's ear. "If you're hearing this, sir, you were right. And I am sorry." Superman paused midair. Something was wrong. He blinked. His pupils flickered. The command code wavered. And that's when Steve Rogers finally reached him. From a Quinjet, falling apart mid-flight, Cap jumped, shield in hand. Not to fight, to reach him. He crashed into a rooftop, bleeding, limping. But he walked straight towards Superman. "We fought together," Cap said. "You remember that?" Superman didn't respond. "They made you forget. Or maybe they buried it. But I know you, Clark. I know you." The hesitation was visible now. The code was failing. Somewhere in him, the man still existed. The friend, the hero. And then a scream tore through the air. Wanda. She hit the ground hard, eyes blazing red, floating upward as the scarlet which erupted in full chaos mode. "You don't get to rewrite this world," she snarled. "Not again." Magic collided with alien tech. Red tendrils wrapped around Superman, pulling at the code, twisting his mind back to itself. He fell to one knee. And then Banner arrived, not as the Hulk, but as the Professor. Mind and monster fully merged. Calm, controlled. He stepped in front of Clark. "You're not a weapon," Bruce said. "You're not a tool. You're not Krypton's legacy. You're Earth's now." Something cracked inside Superman's mind. He saw them, his friends, his real memories. Not the simulations, not the embedded commands. The laughter, the battles, the trust. He screamed, not in rage, but in rebellion. The Kryptonian fleet received a sudden shutdown pulse. Confused. Then silence. Superman rose, body shaking, and unleashed a roar that echoed through the heavens. His heat vision didn't fire at the Earth. It turned skyward, and in one focused blast, he destroyed the control satellite hidden behind the moon. The signal stopped. His eyes returned to normal, but the world was already burning. Cap limped over, blood on his face. "You're back," he said. Superman looked around, at the wreckage, the wounded, the fear. "I never should have left," he whispered. But this wasn't over. Far above, the remnants of the Kryptonian fleet began to regroup, and in deep space, a shadow stirred. A figure who had sent the signal in the first place. This wasn't just a test of Superman. It was a test of Earth. And Earth had just survived its first warning. There was no celebration. Even after Superman severed the Kryptonian control signal, the skies remained dark. The clouds above Earth were ash-filled. Satellites were gone. Cities had lost power. Tsunamis hadn't stopped. Nations were still scrambling. Humanity had survived, but barely. Superman hovered over the Atlantic, staring at the fleet that once obeyed him. Now silent, drifting like forgotten bones in space. He could hear the chaos across the planet. Cries, alarms, broken transmissions. His fists clenched. He didn't save them. He almost ended them. And the worst part, he had felt peace under control. Purpose. Obedience. The command had dug deep, rewriting his instincts, twisting his loyalty. Not to evil, but to something colder. Calculation. Perfection. Krypton's ghost living through him. Tony was in critical condition. Vision had stabilized him with borrowed tech from Wakanda, but the damage from the first hit, when Superman shattered his core, was irreversible without help. And that help was drifting away. The Kryptonian fleet's remaining AI fragments were shutting themselves down, but one remained active. A single core, a black box buried in one of the orbital cruisers, humming with life. Bruce Banner found it first, and he wasn't alone. Carol Danvers floated behind him, arms crossed. This thing tried to convert Earth into a backup hard drive for a dead world. And you want to keep it? Bruce shook his head. I want to understand it. Something deeper's going on. This fleet wasn't just watching Kal-El. They were waiting. For what? That. Bruce pointed to the projection flickering from the AI. Coordinates. Outside the solar system. A signal still active. broadcasting long before Superman's awakening, which meant this wasn't about Clark. It never was. Back on Earth, Wakanda was coordinating emergency recovery, while Reed Richards, having emerged from seclusion, joined Shuri and Riri Williams in repairing Tony's armor. Not to use it, to decode it. Tony had left behind a contingency. One final warning embedded in the arc reactor's dying core. A voice message fractured by static. They're coming, not Kryptonians. Worse, they seeded Clark as a key, just one of many. Earth wasn't the target. Earth was the trigger. Then silence. And just like that, the Avengers realized the Kryptonian fleet was a test run, a calibration system. Superman had been the perfect vessel, not because of his strength, but because of his duality. Raised human, built Kryptonian, the perfect bridge between species. A prototype weapon for a war not yet begun. Wanda was the first to ask the question aloud. If he was a key, what else is out there waiting to turn? That night, Superman returned to the ruins of the Fortress of Solitude. Or what remained. It had collapsed when the signal activated. Now only jagged crystal spears jutted from the ice, humming faintly. There, buried in the snow, was the Codex. He lifted it. For the first time, it felt heavy. He scanned the data inside, lines of genetic memories, species histories, protocols, and then he found it. A phrase burned into his mind. Project Genesis Flame. A network of Kryptonian hybrid candidates seeded across the galaxy. Not just Kal-El, dozens. Some living in secret, some buried, some already awakened. Back on Earth, the Avengers began reforming. Not just for recovery, but for the unknown. Thor returned from a short journey across the cosmos. He traced the signal Superman had cut off. It wasn't just being sent from somewhere. It was part of a cycle, a galactic countdown, a pulse that reached out every few centuries, scanning for activation responses. And this time, Earth had answered. Steve Rogers, quiet but resolute, gathered the core team in the ruins of the old Avengers facility. "We survived Superman," he said. "We won't survive what's next if we stay fractured." Carol nodded. "We need more than the Avengers now." "We need everyone," said Bruce. "X-Men, Fantastic Four, Guardians, mutants, magic, cosmic, street. If it breathes and wants this planet to live, we bring them in." Wanda looked up, eyes still scarred with the aftermath of chaos magic. "But we also have to ask, who else out there doesn't know what they are yet?" And in a corner of the galaxy, someone did. A figure stirred in shadows. Not fully Kryptonian, not fully human. A forgotten Genesis Flame unit. Activated months ago. Silent. Watching Earth's struggle from afar. Waiting for the pulse to reach him. His name was Val-Zod. And he wasn't alone. On an abandoned Kree outpost, a massive vault opened. Inside, suspended in stasis, floated three figures. Human in appearance, Kryptonian in design, bearing house symbols never before seen on Earth. And somewhere even deeper, beneath the ocean floor, a sleeper protocol activated inside an Atlantean vault, older than Atlantis itself. Not of Earth, locked behind DNA encryption that had just now been matched. Arthur Curry, Aquaman, woke with a searing pain in his chest. In the mirror of the temple wall, he saw his reflection shift for a split second. Not Atlantean, not human, Kryptonian. Above Earth, Superman returned. This time with no cape, no colors, just a simple uniform forged from Earth and Krypton both. The Codex integrated with a new suit, a neutral symbol. Not House of El, not Earth's shield, a blank slate. He hovered over the UN summit as world leaders debated retaliation, weaponization, distrust. Then he landed, spoke once. "This planet is my home. I was used against it. Never again. I will not be Earth's god. I will be its guard." A pause. "But you need to prepare. Because I wasn't the only one designed to awaken. And next time, they won't hesitate." The world changed that day. Tony Stark, still in recovery, smiled weakly from his hospital bed as he watched the broadcast. "About damn time," he whispered. The future wasn't safe, but it had a chance. And for now, that was enough. A month passed. Earth rebuilt faster than anyone expected. Not because of its governments, but because of its heroes. Tony Stark, still in a recovery exo-rig. Coordinated tech from a high-orbit medpod. Wakanda opened its borders fully, flooding the planet with vibranium-based infrastructure. The X-Men arrived in New York publicly, finally accepted as part of Earth's defense force. Even Dr. Doom, on his own terms, sent Latvian drones to stabilize collapsed zones. But the peace was temporary. Everyone knew it. The stars were watching. Superman was now under constant observation, not by Earth, but by himself. He no longer trusted the silence in his mind. He'd feel the vibrations at night, small, too faint for anyone else. Pulses, ticking, reminders that the control signal may have stopped, but the activation code still lived inside him. Bruce Banner had turned the AI core from the Kryptonian fleet into a neural map, charting energy signatures similar to Clark's. The results were disturbing. 7 more signals, some faint, some active, all over the galaxy, but one was already on Earth. The readings led them underground. Not a temple, not a vault, a prison, hidden beneath the remains of Sokovia, buried below bedrock and sealed in alien alloys, was a chamber even HY hadn't touched. Shuri, Strange, and Banner worked together to unlock it. When the vault opened, it released no alarm, just a sigh, like something exhaling after centuries of sleep. Inside floated a pod, humanoid, female, Kryptonian markings, but twisted, modified. She opened her eyes. Not red, not glowing, golden. The pod shattered. She didn't attack. She just spoke. I wasn't supposed to wake up until Earth was lost. Her name was Ares Van, a Genesis flame sleeper designed not as a conqueror, but as a judge. Krypton's insurance policy. If Kal-El failed to convert the planet, she would determine if the world deserved annihilation. Superman confronted her personally. He approached slowly, hovering just above the ruins, arms raised. "We're not enemies," he said. "You're broken," she replied. "You were compromised by them. Earth infected you with their weakness." He shook his head. "No, Earth gave me purpose. Krypton gave me power. You know the difference." She stared for a long moment, then flew straight into him. The impact shattered stone, cracked the skies, and dropped Superman through 6 layers of the Earth's crust. She wasn't stronger than him. She was precise. She didn't burn cities. She didn't yell. She moved like a scalpel, engineered to surgically dismantle resistance. The Avengers responded instantly. Thor arrived first, Stormbreaker drawn. But before he could swing, she turned her gaze to the hammer and disintegrated it. Not shattered, disintegrated. Nanomolecular disruption. Kryptonian weaponry from a time even Superman didn't remember. Carol Danvers grabbed her midair and carried her into orbit. They fought across the exosphere, trading blows at light speed. But Ares didn't tire. She didn't speak. She just judged. Back on the ground, Wanda cast a binding spell using chaos magic fused with Stark's anti-Kryptonian disruptors. It worked for seconds. Then Ares adapted. Her body realigned, absorbing the frequency. "She's rewriting her biology mid-fight," Bruce gasped. "She's not a soldier. She's a virus." Superman returned to the field, this time with something he swore never to use: the Codex Blade. Forged from the original Kryptonian DNA archive, the blade was meant to end Kryptonian cells without collateral damage. A mercy weapon, illegal on Krypton. He hated it, but he knew it might be the only way. He and Ares clashed in the upper atmosphere. Each blow sent shockwaves that shook tectonic plates. The northern lights flared across continents as raw energy bled into the sky. Then she made a mistake. She struck at civilians deliberately. A school bus in Montana caught in the aftershock. The shield around it failed. The blast wave moved too fast. Superman broke physics to reach it. He caught the bus midair, saved every child, absorbed the blast into his back, and fell, bleeding, burning, human. That's when Ares paused. She hovered above the smoking crater and stared. "You're no longer Kryptonian," she said. "You're something else." And for the first time, she hesitated. Before she could strike again, someone new intervened. A black flash. Not speed. A ripple in time. Val-Zod. He entered the battlefield with a quiet gravity that stopped even Ares. "You're early," he said to her. "You're late," she responded. "I wasn't meant to wake up at all." But Cal broke the code, and Earth responded. She looked at him with contempt. "Another failure?" "No," he said. "A witness." Val-Zod raised his hands, not to fight, but to show the symbol on his chest. Not House of El, House of Vox. The listeners, the watchers. The Genesis flame was never about conquering. It was about survival. Krypton's arrogance turned it into something else. But Earth is the only world that gave it meaning. Ares lunged. Val-Zod caught her wrist. "I'm not your enemy," he said calmly. "But if you make Cal bleed again..." He didn't finish the sentence. Because she disappeared. Gone. No blast. No trail. Just vanished. Dr. Strange confirmed it. She folded into subspace. Someone pulled her out. By the time the team regrouped, everything had changed. Superman was unconscious. Val-Zod stood guard. Wanda, Carol, Bruce, and Thor were bruised but alive. Tony Stark's voice came through the comms. "Well, that was messy." Carol laughed bitterly. "That's one word for it." But they all felt it now. This wasn't the end. It was the beginning of revelation. Ares was just one node, one judge. There would be others. More hidden, more awakened. And somewhere out there, someone was collecting them, pulling strings, preparing the final directive of the Genesis flame. Superman woke hours later. He didn't speak. He just asked for one thing: a council, not of nations, of heroes, to prepare for the war that was no longer coming, but already here. The council was unlike anything Earth had seen. No governments, no borders, just legends, mutants, gods, aliens, sorcerers, machines, even former enemies, all gathered in one room, under a single agreement. Earth would never be caught off guard again. At its center sat Superman, not as a leader, as a reminder. "I failed," he told them, "not because I wasn't strong enough, but because I didn't question where my strength came from." Around him, the council remained silent, listening, processing. Val-Zod stood beside him, representing those who had no home left to return to. Wanda, with scars still glowing faintly red, watched him with cautious hope. Bruce ran analytics from his holo display, tracking anomaly spikes across the galaxy. And Carol Danvers hovered slightly above, eyes scanning the room for signs of division. "This world changed me," Superman continued. "And that's why they'll come for it again. Not because it's weak, but because it refuses to be anything other than itself." There were nods, quiet agreement, but no illusion of peace. Because while Earth had survived the Genesis flame, the storm wasn't over. Across the stars, in a system with no name, a fleet assembled. Not Kryptonian, not Kree, something older, watching, learning, repurposing the Genesis flame data into something new. And in its heart, Ares stood reborn, but she no longer glowed gold. She burned black, corrupted not by hatred, but by clarity. Earth had failed the judgment in her eyes. And next time, she wouldn't come alone. Back on Earth, Tony Stark uploaded the final update to a new failsafe, Project Mirror, a system not to destroy, but to reflect. A network built to scan every major power on Earth, searching for influence, manipulation, code-level corruption, before it could activate. He left one message at the core of it. If you're reading this, you're the next line of defense. Not because you're perfect, but because you're still here. The screen faded. Superman stood atop the rebuilt Avengers tower, wind tugging at his cape, not red anymore, pure white, a symbol of restart. He looked up beyond the clouds, past the moon, into the stars. "They're coming," he whispered. Val-Zod landed beside him. "So are we." The screen cut to black, and 4 words pulsed in silent rhythm. "Prepare for the reckoning."